Okay, I want you to know, all right, and all those that are listening to this, that we've been in a pickle ever since they put the turbines up on the mountain here. And it's been a very frustrating and tiresome situation for us because we were not aware of the fact that they were going to produce the kind of noise that they produce. Although there's a state regulation that states that decibels at a certain point are considered okay for a person's ears.
Yes, sir.
And that you could adjust to it like you would a train going by or maybe a low-flying airplane or something. But yes, that's a fact. But they come and go. When the turbines are up there and they're going 24/7, they do not come and go. And it doesn't matter about the loudness of these turbines. What is really frustrating is the fact that the noise continues to go on and on and on, and it's sort of like an irregular type sound. And it varies all the time, so you never get used to it, and it gets into your head. It can produce migraines. This used to be, one moment please, okay, so the information that we got prior to the turbines being installed, okay, were, like I had just stated, that they would not be detrimental to our mental and physical health. Well, they're totally wrong, completely, totally wrong. I reread all the literature prior to even the installation of the turbine. The problem is the topography of the land. If you're up in the mountains and you're in an area where sound rebounds like an echo, like you would yell into a canyon, that comes back at you, this is the way these things sort of work. Sound drops, okay, and it sort of like is channeled down, and there are times when we're sitting on the porch that actually you can feel a slight vibration on the porch, and it'll come and go with a sound, and it sounds almost like an offset washing machine, and or when it turns, because it always follows the direction of the wind, you'll hear sometimes a loud whine as these things are turning, but it never leaves you. And I think that is what is the worst thing of all, is that the noise does not ever leave. The only time you get any kind of a relief, it's like getting a piece of candy like it is today, where it's quiet. There's just one turbine that's right now is moving.
Well, there's actually two of them right now, and the other two are not turning.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So it's a godsend. If you were here a couple of days ago, you would have heard this thump, 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 and you would say, well, we're going to have to go in the house. So we go in the house, and you got the windows closed, right? And you still hear it, no matter what section of the house that you go into. At night, when it's very still, you don't hear by the way, the sounds of the forest like we used to hear. It seems like it's sort of like these sounds drown it out. But frequently, my better half will go from our bedroom upstairs, where we used to have the windows open, and now no way. And then she'll go down and sleep in a recliner because the noise keeps coming through like it's pulsating. Now, people will tell you that we've been right up against the turbines, we don't hear anything. Well, you know, that may be true on a flat land. That may be true, because I've been to areas like over in New York State where they have lots of these turbines, and you hear a whoosh, whoosh, a very light whoosh, whoosh. But it's not mountainous country, it's flat, you know. But when the sound seems to gather strength as it comes down and bounces off the rocks and stuff around us and the topography, and it is a nightmare. So much so, by the way, we've been to court over this, and I have the value of my home has dropped. I would say maybe about $80,000 to $100,000 easily, and they, without question, mind you, I got a 15% decrease on my taxes because of the sound. Because people will not come up here and buy this property. If they do, it's because of the fact that they want something for nothing. Because I'm going to be losing $80,000 to $100,000 easily. Wow. We already are aware of this. Melody across the street, McLean, has also received a penance, but for tax reduction. But the thing is that for what those things put out, what misery they cause to people that have an established lifestyle in the area, it's not worth it for the town or for those around the area that wish to buy and resell. For instance, the town of Georgia gets $40,000 a year, and that is for their compliance and agreeing to let the turbines be installed on Georgia Mountain. Now, with my reduction of tax and the others' reduction of tax, they aren't making much money from the sale of that piece of property and for allowing them to put the turbines up there. Now, what is really kind of ironic, I talked to the lister, by the way, who came up here last year, and he sat on our front porch and to listen to the sounds of the turbine.
Now, what's that you said, lister?
Lister, he's a fellow that comes up and he does the evaluation of what you would pay of your property, the value of it, and what you would pay for taxes. He's called the lister. So anyway, he's sitting on the porch, and we're listening to that thump, thump, thump. And I said, would you want your folks to live up here? Would you? He said, well, no. And he says, besides, he says they don't live in the area anyway. So, I'm going like, okay. So I think also what that is telling us is that those that do not live in the area really don't give a damn, because it does not affect their life. But those that live in the area, okay, it affects their life dramatically. Those who have already established their life, okay, and I lived up here to 2 generations. My mother lived up here, I live up here, and I carved my place out of the woods, and this is what I get in return as a thank you from the town of Georgia that was so kind as to agree, along with state regulators, to have those turbines put up there on the mountain. And so there's a kind of a no-win situation for anybody, especially since those that are affected are going to take and go to court, and proof is in the pudding. My taxes have been reduced, a couple of neighbors' taxes have been reduced, so what gain does the town get from allowing this sort of a thing to happen? It's a no-win for what amount of electricity that they put out. And not only that, they destroyed a mountain I used to walk on. It was a historic site. Now when you fly over the Green Mountains, you see these turbines flying on some of them. And we are a tourist state. A lot of people come to Vermont, and probably to your state, because of the view. They don't want to see these artificial things stuck up there with the big turbines. There are other solutions, okay, other than atomic power to take and to produce electricity. And like in Vermont here, I suggested that they make it a mandate, or at least talk about it, of all new houses that are constructed in and big buildings, to put solar panels on them.
I saw solar panels as we came up here.
Yeah, right. And they're low. They don't make sound. They produce in large amounts, I have to agree, as much electricity per household as those wind turbines do up on the mountain up there. And so, but anyway, we do get a little bit of relief because we go to Florida every so often in the winter months. So I get that. But in the meantime, you know, we've had to adjust our lifestyle completely. It's not been fun. I find that when these things are continuous for more than 72 hours, 48 hours, I get a little bit irritable because it wears on me. My better half and I, we find that it affects us psychologically. We seem to have we're shorter with each other rather than having any patience, and so it's difficult for us. Even though we now know the cause, the etiology of why this is occurring, it's still very difficult, and I hate to say it, I look forward to going back down south at times because of the fact that we don't hear this kind of noise. And not only that, it's in the suburbs where we go, and believe it or not, all we hear on a Sunday maybe is a dog barking. And whereas up here in the mountains, this is where the peace and quiet should be.
Yes, sir.
And it's not that at all. So take caution. Do not believe what people tell you in regards to those that wish to take and are trying to sell their point to have those things put on the mountain, all this green stuff, you know, green energy. And talk about pollution. I think there's a such thing as noise pollution.
Amen. And I've spoke with our Chamber of Commerce lady, and I asked her about that pollution, and she said, what pollution do wind turbines produce?
Noise pollution. And not only that, there's a such thing as what they call a flicker effect.
Yes.
I don't know if you're aware of that. When the moon drops down behind the turbines, and the turbines are moving.
So you get bothered at night.
It's like a psychedelic. I can't think of how. It's a flicker effect. It flickers through the trees, and and anybody who has any issues with epilepsy, it's going to be difficult. But I do think that you would be very, very sorry to have these things installed anywhere around your area, especially, I would say, within a mile and a half, anyway. Mile and a half, 2 miles.
How close are you, Mr. Johnson, right here?
I am about a half a mile away here. Okay. And Melody is a little bit further away. But it is awful. Right now, it's getting like having a piece of candy.
Yes,
Halloween night, hooray! You know,
the wind is out of the north right now. Is that right?
Exactly. Okay. Exactly.
Okay.
The north, the wind usually runs it'd be southeast or northwest, and it's up and down this draw. But any kind of a mountainous country that these things are installed in those particular areas, you're going to have some difficulty because of topography, because of the way the sound travels. Everybody knows this, but like I state, a flat terrain like they have in the Midwest, and like they have up in New York State, other places is flat. They can install them there all they want. I mean, although it ruins everything around them, just visibly, I'm sure, but. Up here, we get the effects of the noise because noise drops and it is bad.
Our commission had tried to convince us that maybe these wind turbines would bring in tourism.
It will do just the opposite. Believe me, it will do just the opposite. We've had people that have come around here, okay, from Canada, different areas, and say, hey, I want to go where, where it's secluded, where there's the natural beauty, for vacation wise.
Yes.
And this is not the area. And let me put it to them. If they think that will draw tourism, how come that the properties around here got reduced so much? We lost like I said, $80 to $1,000 value of my property. So if you think that's going to increase,
was that $80,000 to $100,000 in?
Yeah, 80 to 100,000. Yeah, I said that. Yeah, easily, if not more.
You got 15%.
I mentioned that I got 50% reduction, and she got a 12% across.
Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, ask me some questions. I've sort of like blurted out.
I think that you have answered every question just by living under them. One thing that I wanted to talk about was the direction the wind was coming in, and the effect of the direction of the wind so far as noise goes. One question I want to ask you though, did they talk about frequencies? Did they talk to you about the frequency of the sound? Or did they just come, did they come to you and tell you it was just as if you and I were standing here talking and that's the kind of sound it would be making?
Okay. We questioned, the frequency of the sound and the loudness. So they set up a monitoring sound monitoring equipment right here on my property.
Yes, sir.
And they said that at times, it maybe crept a little bit above the limit, but that would be only because of the fact there were other intermingling noises, and they couldn't quite discern from how they put it if they were really way out of limit as far as above what is considered safe for health standards. But I don't care what they say about these limits that they set upon what is considered safe. It is the consistency of the irregularity of the volume of noise, which up and down. It can be low, it can be high, but it does not leave. And that's the thing that really wears on somebody. I would almost think that it would be like, you ever hear about waterboarding that they do?
Yes, sir. That's my thing. I'm with you. I understand it.
Yes. Or they'll take and they have this constant noise that does not go away. Now, if something like that is consistent, unless you wear earmuffs around all the time, it will wear on you. It cannot help but wear on you, and it wears you down and makes you tired. And like I said, it makes you more irritable. It's been hell here, and but we do recognize it, but we've had to adjust our life accordingly. We can't stay outside when it really starts thumping and banging. Now, a jet will fly over, right?
Yes.
And it's gone. You know it's going to end. A train will go by. It maybe even louder than what the state says is healthy for you. It's gone. I mean, hell, you can be riding a tractor, a motorcycle, or something real loud goes squealing by you, but you know it's going to be gone. The problem is that this stuff does not go away. It's going to be there for a lifetime of pure hell, and that's what we've been living with. And I welcome anybody who wants to come up and listen to it when those things are going full blast, and coming down the draw, and they could even stay and say, I guarantee you, they're not going to be happy. They're going to say, do I want this in my backyard? I'm out there with my kids hearing this thump, 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 and squeal going on. No.
Yes.
No way. No way. And they're giving you a bunch of bull crap if they're trying to take into and to convince you otherwise. Really, really, they're really giving it to you. But if we didn't, proof is in the pudding. Like I said, we got a reduction in our taxes because of it. Hey, if they say there's no noise, then why'd they give us a reduction in taxes, right? Huh?
Yes, sir.
It certainly is not because of my good looks, because, folks, I'm not a very good-looking guy. I'm an old farm boy. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time, Mr.
Oh,
Johnson.
You're welcome. And I'm sorry.
This has been very informative.
This is just from as you know, it's not scripted. I'm just blurting it
yes,
right
sir.
out.
I got you right out of the garden.
My misery that I got to live with, and it is a terrible thing. There's got to be other ways without disrupting people's lives who have been established for years and years in an area, and they call it home. You know, we were here first. You know, what right did they have to come in and ruin my life? And that's what they've done.
Yes, sir.
That's why we have to make adjustments, and we have to get the hell out when, we do have that reprieve. We leave here a little bit in the wintertime, so it's something like we're looking forward to. It's terrible, isn't it?
Yes.
Here I grew up here. I know. That's life.
Okay. And this is Mr. Reggie Johnson at Georgia Mountain.
Georgia Mountain in Vermont, yeah.
We appreciate you,
Well,
Mr. Reggie.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you very much.